Welcome to Recovering Addict.
Welcome. I feel like I need to be way over here.
It's our first time setting up all of the equipment. It's been a little bit of a chore this evening. Uh, just trying to troubleshoot things. So there you go. Any critiques about the lighting? Just put them in a bottle and throw them in the river.
Do we look blue?
But
Can you hear us? That's the number one question.
so I'm Jake. I'm a recovering substance user.
I'm Felice. I'm married to an addict, was a co-addict, and now here to talk about it.
Okay. So you want to greet the chat?
Yeah, I'll say hi to everybody who's here so far. We have. Lish is our winner chicken dinner, and hopefully you can hear me because I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure you can. Who else
We tested the equipment.
We did. There's Big Hump. What is up?
Hump.
I love when you jump on and say hi. It's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We got John in the house.
Fourth.
R.A. Hey. Good evening. Salutations.
I burped.
That reminds me of a Disney movie. I can't think of which one. What's up, Debbie? Nice to see ya.
Debbie.
Let's see who else we got. We got my big brother there. What up, Ep?
Yeah.
Mo, hello. Marilyn, you're beautiful as always. Shondea.
Sean. And then we got Sean.
And what? Sean. I was going to say, sorry about your conversation. I kept distracting him.
Yeah.
Why do people in treatment houses be telling on people?
Because we work a program of accountability. I don't know. It depends on the context of what you're trying to say.
Maybe they're just trying to help and they're worried about you. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like. I'm not going to say who you are because you're on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
But I'm curious who you are, so I'm looking it up.
Oh, we got Allie. Hey, Allie.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with my kids.
That's not what I was trying to do. Very high gain, low resolution, but it just makes you guys sound high pitched.
Yeah, well. Did you turn the gains up?
No, I didn't touch it.
He turned the gains up. Just kidding. As long as you can hear us.
Oh my God, Allie.
I think.
Allie. And pause. There you go.
I wanted to hear what we sounded like.
Oh. We sounded fine.
I think we're all right. I know who you are. Are you the one snitching? Just kidding, friend. Josh Beam, what up? Who else we got?
Who's Virginia?
Virginia.
That's a new name for
everyone.
Me, at least.
Yeah, I don't recognize you either, Virginia. But it's nice to see you.
Is this your first time catching the stream? Or first time commenting? Or
please tell. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
I'll just kind of sit back a little. I think that'll be all right.
Okay.
So last time it was the first Me and Jake show. I told my story so y'all could catch it. The last Me and Jake show, Jake told his story. So if y'all want to catch it. So this time we're going to go over an article that really, really, really helped me set boundaries and realize what not to do. Because I'll backstory. My husband, the wonderful LT, was an alcoholic for a good hardcore for probably 3 years. And then the last year he's been sober and very proud of him. But during those 3 years was really tough. I did lots of research, read tons of articles, looked up anything and everything I could about alcoholic, drugs, addiction, co-addiction, codependency, anything and everything. I actually got counseling for a while to help me because I was getting sucked into his addiction. I didn't like it. Like tracking everywhere he's going, tracking bank accounts, all that jazz. And there was this article I found, and it's called 10 Things to Stop Doing If You Love an Alcoholic. And this was the article that I needed to give me permission to set boundaries, I guess. Like I felt bad I felt like I was just like neglecting him almost. Like he needs help and he needs me to do this, but at the same time, I knew what I was doing wasn't helping because boundaries seem like super counterintuitive. Because, like, you see somebody running for a cliff, and your first instinct is to go and catch them.
Mhm.
But with an addict, you have to let them fall off the cliff so
Yeah.
they realize they need help. And so I needed that permission to just kind of be like, okay, go experience your consequences. And so I'd like to go over this art. I know I've shared it a few times with you guys, but I want to go over it because I don't know, maybe somebody's out there that needs help.
Yeah, and just like again, that the work that you did to help LT and let him learn his own consequences, like that's a big deal. You know, like a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, a lot of people think they're helping and it's
What?
actually hurting.
Because we forgot about it.
And it was probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do. There was, yeah, see, I knew it was you, Claiborne, but I wasn't going to be a rat. And you still need to come to Utah and fix my hair. Just saying.
Did he call himself out? What are you doing?
He was the Facebook
Oh,
user
yeah, okay,
that said,
there we go.
said
Like, oh, boop.
clean and sober, but seeing people telling people that ain't doing nothing wrong, but the ones telling are the ones effing up. Yeah, see, that's messed up. They're trying to get the
Blame
heat off,
shifting,
hate off them and onto somebody else. That's what
deflecting.
it sounds. Yeah.
You know, Josh Beam is quarantined. You know, you've been kissing
What?
homeless people. Is that why you're quarantined?
If you're quarantined and need a good movie to watch, The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Me and LT were obsessed. Watched the whole thing, and now we play chess.
Yeah.
I'm very, very bad at it, but we try. He's good. I'm bad. I just learned how to move my 2 pawns to the center, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That was lesson 1.
Now this is what you do here.
Yeah, so bad at it. I'm like, cool, I killed one. I'm so cool.
We need like a better table. I just want to like.
Because it gives you slivers.
Well, not even the slivers, but then the mouse like gets interfered with, and back on topic. So anyway,
Virginia, what's your YouTube name? Is it the same name? I need to know.
where's Mad?
I don't know. The twins say hi, Jake.
Hello,
Hey, twins. Boys or girls?
Kiaran and Kiara.
Aw, and the cute names. I love it.
Yeah, one of them broke their collarbone.
Psychic Beauty. We are recovering addict on YouTube. I can actually share the link if you let me steal the mouse for 2 seconds. Mouse Wars! I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to find out. Twitcher. Command C. Control V or something. Nope. Command V. Control V. What the heck is it?
Control V is paste.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm trying to.
Let's see. We'll do it the old way. Copy.
Ooh.
Paste. That may
You hit enter on your.
What is going on?
I have the keyboard. You have a laptop.
Do it all the time. Like, this should work. This is not connected.
Okay, I wanted to address this one right here. Boop 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 boop. Tell us why. Like why are you glad that we're on this subject tonight? Now, with that, let's move into this article.
Yes, let's do this article. It is called.
We have gone off on a tangent.
Yeah, sorry, I started talking about chess.
We have digressed.
And I will share the link eventually. So it's let's see, she might have answered. Oh, hey Ashley, what's up? Okay, so this article, it's verywell.com, and it's called 10 Things to Stop Doing If You Love an Alcoholic. It seems so self-explanatory and so easy. Yeah, I don't even think the link goes to Twitch, so sorry. Hi, Grandma T. But it was like the hardest thing to do. Let's see. I'll just read it and then we can talk about each one. I'll read the first part. It says, are you wondering how you can cope with a drunk mother during the holidays or how you can help her? Have friends told you that you are an enabler for your spouse? Do you find yourself suffering the consequences of a loved one's alcoholic problem? I did feel like I was suffering a lot of consequences of decisions.
Hi, Joni.
Hey, Joni. I've been in Al-Anon going 8 years. It's dear to my heart. Oh, very
And
cool.
probably saved my life.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Your story a little bit there, Kathy.
Oh, Joni Faulkner.
It says, it can be hard to hear that you need to change yourself, when a loved one is living with alcoholism. That's another thing that feels super counterintuitive because you're like, I'm not the alcoholic, I'm not the problem. But really, the way you're acting to the situations causes problems. And a lot of people don't want to hear it because it's like, he needs to change and he's doing all this or she's doing all that. And I don't need to do anything because it's not me. But you'll be surprised at what happens when you change your attitude and realize that you can't control other people.
I sort of went through the same thing with Cameron. Like, he was sneaking out all the time, doing all of these things. So instead of like getting in his face or like trying to, oh, you need to do this,
Yeah.
I would just tell his probation officer.
Yeah.
Like, I would just let the natural consequences of his choices just like play through. Like, it took a while to get there. Like, but I would just report his violations, talk to his probation officer, like candidly about my concerns, the things that I'm seeing, and like he's moving and he's on a good path now.
Oh, yeah. There you are, Virginia. It's the same name. So it says, it can be hard to hear that you need to change yourself when a loved one is living with alcoholism. After all, it's their problem, isn't it? Unfortunately, you can only change yourself. And the only way you can interrupt and change the current course of your interactions with people with substance abuse disorders is to change your reactions. Those who live or have lived with active alcoholics or anyone struggling with addiction find that they have been deeply affected by the experience. Many times, the frustration and stress can be caused by your own actions and choices. And I definitely experienced that a lot because I reacted a lot in anger. And it was really hard to adjust that natural instinct in myself.
Oh, and like, I don't know, it just came into my head, like, the if you loved us, you wouldn't do this, and like making promises. Don't
Yeah.
please, anyone who may be dealing with with an addicted loved one, please don't set them up for that failure, because you can love your family and still get high as balls.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried not to because I did do, like I said, I did a lot of research and I knew that addiction was something he couldn't control, and he didn't do it because he didn't love us. He did it because he had an addiction problem, sickness, whatever you want to say it. Kathy, I'm 50-year-old mom, wife, daughter. I have 2, maybe 3 addict alcoholic grown children. I grew up in a dry alcoholic home, and I'm a survivor and try every day not to be an enabler. Ah, very good, Kathy. It's so hard not to. It really is. But hopefully these tips will help everybody. What's Hump say? Says, Felice Jake, separation anxiety has me out of my seeds life. Can you guys speak to how you held faith and hope? How are you guys, hope, how you guys reunited with the babies and partners?
Oh, I led by example. Like, that's sort of all I could do. Like, I would relapse and blah blah blah, and like just most recently it's just been developing that diligence and consistency to my recovery, and then just going as hard as I've been going. And now I just sort of have the respect, earned respect of my children, and through continuing daily efforts, like that's that's how I have been reconnected with my kids.
Yeah, and a lot of family members of addicts, they hear a lot of empty promises, like I'm going to quit for reals this time, and then you quit for a week or so, and then it gets you again, and it's just those empty promises after empty promises, and so it is hard to start to trust again. And the best thing LT has done is, like you said, live by example. He gave a full year before he could even, I don't know if you want me to say this, do his was it step 7, the
Step 9.
step 9,
Yeah, he
and apologize.
yeah he told me that he waited for like that 1 year mark to give you your amends, your step 9
Yeah.
amends.
Sorry, I don't know if you want people to tell you that, but it was beautiful. Like, it meant so much more because he had showed me through his actions that he meant it, instead of through empty promises that he wanted to mean it. If that helps at all. So just show your partners and your babies and be honest with them. Don't lie to them. If you're struggling, talk about it. Be honest, because they can see it. They can see when you're struggling. They they know. Just be honest. Yeah, see, Kathy knows. Boom. You have to show us we were hurt to believe you, to believe what you say. Yeah. Actions 100%.
Yeah, and then it's also that being careful, not necessarily being careful like walking on eggshells, but like having like not enabling but also being supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a
I don't know,
balance.
I dealt with a lot of belittling, like, or like I said, promises and like demands, not from me, demands made of me to promise that I wouldn't use again or do any of this. If you loved us, you wouldn't get high, well, and all that, like just set up for failure. So it's like my relapses were compounded by shame.
Yeah, and those were a lot of mistakes I made at first too. Like, he'd be like, "Okay, I'm going to quit," and then he wouldn't, and I'd be like, "I thought you said you were going to quit." Like, it's just, you just stop doing it, but it's a lot more to it than just you stop. It's work and constant work and more work and positive reinforcement and all the things. It's not just a simple just quit. I definitely had to learn that. Okay, so let's see. Frustration and stress. It says, by adjusting your approach. There we are.
I'm, I am grounded from the mouse.
We didn't even disappear. You guys didn't even know. Oh no, we totally disappeared.
I apologize.
I've done it about 4 times now, and I get fired every time. I'm like, it's you just accidentally go up and it goes over and you're out. Well, Jake's fired this time. Anyways, so by adjusting your approach and your attitude toward the problem, you can place it in a different perspective so that it no longer dominates your thoughts in your life. In some ways, knowing that you can change your approach and attitude is empowering. It is empowering. Yeah, that is. You blinked for a long time.
Blank. Oh.
Real slow like. Yeah, it is empowering to change yourself, because it's not empowering to try and change others because you have no power over them. But you can change you. You no longer need to continue doing some of the things you do in your dance with the person with addiction. Here are 10 things that you can stop doing that may help relieve the pressure. And that was the sentence that got me. You no longer need to continue doing some of the things you do in your dance with the person with addiction. That was the permission I needed to say no and to set boundaries. It says hump mom.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, fine. I'll leave it up.
okay, my man. The first step to recovery is admitting your addiction, even if it's a loved one's. The more you discuss it, the more you see it working, the more it will reasons for you. Yes, all true things.
Yeah, I wanted to put that up because he's on Facebook and Hump's on YouTube.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
All right. So, number 1, blaming yourself. It's typical for alcoholics to try to blame their drinking on circumstances or others around them, including those who are closest to them. It's common to hear an alcoholic say, "The only reason I drink is because of you." It says, do not buy into it. If your loved one is truly an alcoholic, they are going to drink no matter what you do or say, and it is not your fault. They have become dependent on alcohol, and nothing is going to get between them and their drug of choice. That goes for all drugs right there. And that was, I think that's a good one, because I think a lot of people do hear that, like, I only drink because of this, and I only drink because you do that, and I only drink because you nag me. And really, none of it's true. And it's not your fault. And you shouldn't feel bad because you didn't do anything wrong. You're not making someone pick up a glass and drink. You're not making someone smoke anything. You didn't do anything. So don't blame yourself. Because all that's doing, you're just putting yourself down, and then you feel miserable, and then you're like, there's nothing I can do right because everything I do makes them want to drink, when really it's not true at all. So that's number 1, blaming yourself. Stop it. Number 2, taking it personally. Here's another tough one, because I think I would take it personally a lot. It would hurt my feelings and I'd cry. It says, when alcoholics promise they will never drink again, but a short time later are back to drinking as much as always, it is easy for family members to take the broken promises and lies personally. You may tend to think, if she really loves me, she wouldn't lie to me. But if they have become truly addicted to alcohol, their brain chemistry may have changed to the point that they are completely surprised by some of the choices they make, and they may not be in control of their own decision making. The addict decides for them, and there ain't nothing you can do to change it for them. So don't take it personal, which is hard because sometimes the words are very hurtful and they can say very mean things. And you just have to, as hard as it, like I said, this is like the hardest thing you'll have to do is not take something personally. Because I always, anytime I feel like I'm in trouble, I cry and I like have to do something to fix it. But in these circumstances, nothing I did was good enough to fix it. So I just have to, when I felt like I was taking it personally, I'd have to go for a walk. I'd have to talk to somebody. I went to counseling. So there's a lot of things. And then this link also has a link to brain chemistry and how alcohol affects the brain. And like the more research you do on how drugs and alcohol physically affect the body, the easier it is to not take it personally. It's weird, like just understanding the science behind it. Because it rewires like the whole brain. And then when you take it away, the brain goes into like a fight or flight. So they'll do anything to get it back.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Same thing with like sugar and stuff. It like changes your whole brain chemistry. So it's not anything you did. It's just their body physically craving the drug and doing anything it can to get it. So is that how it felt for you going through like?
I was a meth addict, and I'm stubborn. Like, I don't know. My cravings were more mental.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to go to certain situations when I was like triggered. Like it was weird. I didn't have like a physical craving for it. It was always a mental desire.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't have the experience with alcohol. But it was always a mental for me with meth. Just wanting escape or relief or, you know, or to satisfy some need that was resultant of trauma or, what have
Mm-hmm.
you. So,
Yeah, I don't know how meth works on the brain, but sugar and alcohol are real similar. It's crazy. Like even coming off of alcohol, like your brain has to rewire itself again. It's so weird. Like it tripped me out the more I like read about it. Um, Number 3, trying to control it. Smash that like. Thanks, Lish.
subscribe if you haven't done so already, and be sure to share.
But yeah, there's definitely like an emotional thing to addiction and like a physical dependence, and it seems like they just go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But for like a family member, at least for me, it was easier for me to relinquish control the more I knew about the science part of it, because the emotional stuff is just too hurtful, I guess.
Yeah, like the main problem with drugs is that they feel fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, if you took a bunch of drugs and your teeth turned into graham crackers, you wouldn't want to do them anymore. Like, there is a benefit, like a sensational benefit to doing drugs, and then it just spirals on from there.
Yeah.
Like you feel oh, I'm distracted. Like you start feeling lousy and you just want to feel better.
Right.
And that's why I like developing those tools and tricks to overcome cravings and move forward and deal with whatever. Relapse prevention plans are important.
Yeah. Deal with all them resentments.
Yeah, well, not even the resentments, just like those contingency plans. So if a craving does come up and you're like, aha, or you're at a restaurant and people are
Yeah.
having wine and, oh, it'd be real nice to have one more, and then it's like play the tape through.
Yeah. All the tools.
Like
There's
the
so many good tools out there.
PTA, halt, all that business.
Yeah. There's tons of tools out there. So if you are an addict, watch all the other videos. Lots of things. Lots of things we talk about. So number 3, trying to control it. I don't feel like I really tried to control LT's drinking a lot. Like I always told him, like, you're a grown man, you can make your own choices. So I never like dumped out his beer or hid his whiskey. Like if he bought it, there was nothing. If I did dump it, he'd just go get more. So it was just pointless. So I didn't try to control it that way.
You think they can hear that?
I don't know. Felice, my bad. Thank you for sharing a different perspective. LT and others that have support is so different. Matters not. Family, friends, pets makes me appreciate what others can cling to.
You have support, huh?
Yeah, do you have?
You just got to come out of the bushes a little bit more, brother.
Yeah.
Like we're here, like all 24 hours a day. You got the Discord, Like it sucks being alone, and I don't know what state he lives in, but whatever state you're in, like you do have support. You just gotta put your binoculars down and come out of those bushes.
And sometimes you have to create your own family. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there are family members that can't get over the resentments. It's just how it is. They got hurt so often that they're just bitter now, and they may not ever forgive you. And so sometimes you just have to create your own family with people who understand and people who really do truly love you. And I know that this community does love you. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know your family situation. That's just sometimes that happens. Trying to control it. Many family members of alcoholics naturally try everything they can think to get their loved ones to stop drinking. Unfortunately, this usually results in leaving the alcoholic's family members feeling lonely and frustrated. You may tell yourself that surely there is something that you can do, But the reality is that not even alcoholics can control their drinking. Try as they may, even knowing that you may still want to help your loved one when they are in the middle of a crisis. This one, not that one. Scroll up. In reality, that is usually the time when the family should do nothing. Let me read that last sentence again. It says, even knowing that, you may still want to help your loved one. Oh, so even knowing that you can't control them, you still want to help them. And when they're, especially when they're in the middle of a crisis. So when they're in the middle of the crisis, in reality, that's the time the family should do nothing. Here's the counterintuitive part. When they're in a crisis, this is your chance to step back. That's hard.
Wow.
It's very hard to watch someone you love just destroy themselves. But that's the time when you have to do it. Do you want me to read that?
So what I've learned about drugs is that you rationalize shock because your body goes into shock. So you learn the shock is okay. Let's get shock in there a few more times. And eventually good for you. And for alcohol, I learned drinking is a disinhibited you. And you get comfortable acting on impulse as you do more things you think you should.
Yeah, very true. So it says you should do nothing. When a person with a substance use problem reaches a crisis point, sometimes that's the time the person finally admits they have a problem and they begin to reach out for help. So hold on, I'll finish. If friends or family members rush in and rescue the person from the crisis situation, it can delay the decision to get help. And I think I probably did this a lot. I don't know if LT's out there. He can say differently, but you want to go rescue, and all it's doing is hurting the person instead because you're just prolonging a process instead of just letting the crisis happen and letting them see the consequences of their actions. You just keep covering it up. And that is very hard. So here's an example. Let a crisis happen.
Can you folks hear the kids in the background?
Colorado to Cali. I'm RA fam. I've hurt no one, just venting. Vent away, big hump. Vent away.
Absolutely.
That's why we're here.
Like, I would say I rely heavily on my family, my sore family, recovering addict family, the idiots that I shenaniganize with. I just I rely on my support system. If I'm having a flare of anger or just sort of in a way, I just call people. Like my brother's got a tranquilizer dart if I ever fall off with my name on it. So, but I don't want to get trank darted.
No, why? It'd be probably the best sleep you ever had.
We almost fought last time. He came over to my house, tried to get me to smoke a bunch of weed to go to sleep, and we almost fought. So he's just gonna skip the line and just put me down. Put me down like a dog.
No.
I'm not gonna fight you, you big
I'm too
bastard.
old. My knees. That's what always says. I got bad knees. That's why I don't fight. It always makes me laugh. Like the old man. Okay. So, guess what time it is? We have like 4 mouses. Hold on. It is Cassie time.
You got that down. You got that down, Felice.
I've been practicing. My favorite sound.
I love it.
Scream that a lot at my drafting department.
Real excited about drafting, huh?
Yeah, we basically had like a DJ booth up there. We had like lights, a disco ball until human resources told us to calm down.
Wow. Going
like
down.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
You dig it.
How are you tonight, Jake?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm a little sore. Like I did a nap inducing workout today. It was
Wait. Nap? Like nap or Napa?
Yeah, like I went home and like passed out.
Oh, okay.
Like it was
After you did your
nasty.
workout.
Mhm.
Yes,
Sounds
It
that's
was
a
nasty.
kick butt workout. I like those. Those are
Arms
good.
hurt.
Yeah. Nice.
And
Oh,
your cousin's fine. He's at work.
I'm not asking. I get it. It's sunk in. I'm not even going there today. I had to text him like, gosh, I think I asked like, what did I do to my cousin? Where's my cousin? Bring him down a little bit, Cassie. It's okay. Your
Knock
cousin's
him
just
out. He's over here on the floor.
Okay, so here's my quote of the day. Our greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over the other. Boom.
Ah, easy.
Sweet, right?
Sounds
Yeah.
Say
Right?
that again.
Our greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over the other. So then I was thinking about that too, because I think, with that being said, and this is my own personal, I think that meditation has helped me with that though.
Oh, yeah.
Choosing one thought over the other, because normally it's just like, I feel like I'm compounded sometimes with these negative thoughts. But now that I've learned to meditate and like visualize this blue sky and whatever I do in my own head, it definitely makes it easier for me. So
Yeah.
just to put that out there. But
Slow
that's my
down
own
those
personal.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I love it.
Yeah.
Claiborne says if he and you get married, that we get free haircuts. So make that happen, okay?
Okay. Love you guys. I got you, Felice.
See this? It's destroyed and needs to be fixed. So
We'll hook you up.
Oh, there.
All right. I love you guys so much. Hi, Sky.
Love
Love
you
you
too.
guys. Let's bring it together. All right. And we're going to continue to spread that love.
bam,
Love
bam,
you guys.
bam.
Good night.
Love you too. Good night.
Love you.
Good night.
Oh, look, she popped right out of there. Love her. So, hear that, Claiborne? Making it happen. I need a haircut.
Sounded like the Dalai Lama.
Mic drop. Where is Merc? There he is.
Where?
Right there at the bottom. Schmerkalicious.
Are you late, Merc? Have you been just posted in the back, kicking it in the bushes that Hump came out of, or what?
You guys hiding in the same bushes?
Maybe.
Okay. Example of letting a crisis happen. For those who love someone living with addiction, it's very difficult to sit back and let the crisis play out to its fullest extent. Very true. When someone you
I'm
love,
tripping. I'm going to ask them to calm down.
maybe close the door. Oh, I don't know. Thanks, Claiborne. Thanks. When someone you love reaches a point in their substance use when they get a DUI, lose their job, or get thrown in jail, it can be a difficult concept to accept that the best thing you could do in that situation is to do nothing. Yes. It may seem like it goes against everything you believe. Unfortunately, this causes the cycle to repeat indefinitely. We keep just bailing them out indefinitely, just keeps going. You don't have to create a crisis, but learning detachment will help you allow a crisis, one that may be the only way to create change to happen. And I've learned a little bit about detachment, and I like the way the other guy, this one guy put it. He put detachment with love, because you're not like just kicking him to the curb. You still love them and you encourage them, but you detach from certain situations. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you. You're so wonderful. And then number 4. Hopefully I get through all these. I probably speed it up a bit, huh? Trying to cure it. Make no mistake about it, alcoholism and alcohol dependency are primary, chronic, and progressive diseases that sometimes can be fatal. You are not a healthcare professional, and even if you are, you should not carry the responsibility of treating friends and family. You are not a trained substance abuse counselor. And again, even if you are, your role should not be a counselor to your family and friends. You just happen to love someone who is probably going to need professional treatment to get healthy again. And that's their responsibility, not yours. You can't cure a disease no matter what your background happens to be. You need outside help, which is very true because it seems there's just you just accept things differently when it comes from outside those you love. I don't know what it is about it. Um, Alcoholics usually go through a few stages before they're ready to make a change. And until an alcoholic begins to contemplate quitting, any actions you take to help them quit will often be met with resistance. Yeah, I did notice that in LT. Like it got to a point where he actually started thinking about quitting, and that's when we can kind of have those real good conversations sometimes. Even though it's not your responsibility to cure your loved one's alcoholism, you may be interested in knowing some of the things that make drinkers want to stop, as well as some of the things which get in the way of an alcoholic getting sober. There's a link to that in this article. And I'll put this article up there. You guys can click on it. You may wish to consider a family intervention. Before looking into ways of staging an intervention, take a moment to read further about how to care about yourself. How to care for yourself, not only for yourself, but because it's often the only way a person with an addiction will get help they need. And it's true. I had to help myself before LT even contemplating helping himself. It was weird. It was weird how this all worked out. And it worked in my case, all these steps, and I followed all of them. Says, and this one, number 5 was actually they were all really hard, but this one was exceptionally hard. And it's covering it up.
Did you miss this?
I did. Thank you again, Marilyn. Says there's a joke in recovery circles about an alcoholic in denial who screams, "I don't have a problem, so don't tell anyone." I don't have a problem. Don't you tell anybody.
Hey, baby.
Alcoholics typically do not want anyone to know the level of their alcohol consumption because if someone found out the full extent of the problem, they might try to help. If family members try to help enable the alcoholic by covering up for their drinking and making excuses for them, they are playing right into the alcoholic's denial game. Dealing with the problem openly and honestly is the best approach, which is hard because as soon as you go, this is an example. Say I wanted to go to my family's house for a party or birthday party. And so I get there, but LT doesn't want to go because he'd rather stay home and drink. And I get there and everybody's, where's LT? Where's LT? Where's LT? And I'm like, oh, he's just home. He was tired, so he wanted to stay. All I'm doing is covering up a problem. So instead, what I do is I'd be like, why don't you call and ask him? Because his choices weren't for me to answer for. So if they wanted to know, they could call him and ask, and he could come up with an excuse or he could tell the truth. It wasn't up to me to decide what the excuses were or what the truth is to tell people. That's something for him to deal with, not for me. And that was hard for me to do because I was a pretty private person. I don't talk about my feelings and issues with a lot of people, especially my family. I do now, but that was hard for me. And I never realized that it was just playing into his denial game until after I read this, and then I quit doing it. Night, Claiborne. He's at home not having a problem. Exactly. So number 6. This was another one I had to quit doing. Accepting unacceptable behavior. Accepting unacceptable behavior usually begins with some small incident that family members brush off. They just had too much to drink. But the next time, the behavior may get a little worse and then even worse. And you slowly begin to accept more and more unacceptable behavior before you realize if you can find yourself in a full-blown abusive relationship. And abuse is never acceptable, this says. You do not have to accept unacceptable behavior. You do have choices. And it's important to protect your children from unacceptable behavior as well. Do not tolerate any hurtful or negative comments addressed towards your children. These comments can result in lasting damage to the child's psyche. So protect your children. And this is, I don't know if I'm not supposed to talk about this either, but it's something I found out that I was doing. Like, he would get drunk or whatever, and he'd go through his stages of sad, happy, and inevitably get angry.
Mhm.
And I found myself not stepping in when I should have. And after reading this, I started stepping in when I noticed it was affecting my kids. And I'd pull the kids out of the situation and tell them to go to their friend's house or something.
I'll read it in a minute. Focus. Focus.
And yeah, don't let it affect your children and don't let it affect you. So if we would fight, I would just leave and come back in the morning when he'd sobered up and we could have a civil conversation. So you don't have to accept unacceptable behavior. And I found that I was doing that a lot. And my reaction to it by getting angry was just making it worse. Because he'd yell at me and I'd yell back, and then he wouldn't listen. So then I'd throw something, and it just got like completely out of hand.
Yeah, like I lived with an alcoholic as a sober adult, and give me a stick. As a sober adult, and he would spend like 20 hours a day in his bedroom just drinking. Would come out occasionally, and like, so me and my brother, we paid all the bills, like, not to enable him by no means, like, because we needed a place to live too.
Yeah.
Like, it got to a point where I'm like, I need access to all of the utilities. I need you to talk to the mortgage company so that they will accept payments from me. Like, I'm not giving you any cash. Like, so it was rough. It was a rough time
Hey, Jeanette.
there for a while.
Yeah, and it's hard doing that stuff when you're married because you still have to pay the bills. Like, I still had to take care of the kids, so he couldn't experience those consequences of like, oh, like if you're a single parent and you're not taking care of your kids, you kind of feel the consequences because they're going to get taken away eventually. Whereas when you're married, your spouse still has the responsibility of taking care of everything, making sure the house is still running. So there's you have to pick and choose which things to let go of. Like if he wanted to go to the liquor store and was already drunk, I would say no. So he'd have to find his own way. So it was like it was a little harder to navigate those because I couldn't just lose my house.
Yeah.
That would suck. What was funny? What did I miss?
Oh, where was it? Missed it. Right. No. Went way too far. Like, subscribe, ring a bell, super talk, hit a button and support, something like that.
Yeah, do what Hump said. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. An anonymous Facebook user, we missed you too.
I'm going to yell you out. That's Jeanette. We miss you. Where have you been? I don't see your name very often. So number 7.
Remember, if you support the behavior in any way, you are supporting the addiction. If you ever want to support the sobriety, you can't do both. It makes you a two-way door. Mm-hmm. And then here's John V to clean up some things. Very concise, to the point. I sort of liked Humps better. You're very clinical, John. You're very clinical.
You got both flavors.
Flav. You got a big old timepiece on the necklace. John V does.
So number 7.
There was an old cartoon with a wizard, and he was making a potion in a cauldron, and he saw and just a little bit of flavor, and then just dropped a big clock on a chain into it.
That's funny. I love it. All right, number 7. Having unreasonable expectations. I felt that I did this also. Oh, you been working? Same. One problem of dealing with an alcoholic is what might seem like a reasonable expectation in some circumstances might be totally unreasonable when it comes to someone with an addiction. When alcoholics swear to you and to themselves that they will never touch another drop, you might naturally expect that they are sincere and they won't drink again.
Oh, dang it.
But with alcoholics, that expectation turns out to be unreasonable. It is reasonable to expect someone to be honest with you when the person is incapable of being honest with themselves. That makes sense? Like, he couldn't even be honest with himself. Why is he going to even be honest with me? It's an unreasonable expectation.
Yeah, like I sort of went through that too. Like when I relapsed in 2017, right before I went into um, counseling, like the best thing I ever did for myself was accept that I had that problem, accept that I couldn't stay sober on my own, accept that I wasn't the man I wanted to be, the father that my kids needed me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to be accountable and stop living in this, oh, I'll be okay fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was, so it's,
How to get honest with yourself.
yeah,
What do you want from you?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just, you just take what they say with a grain of salt and let their actions speak louder than words usually. And when they want help, you'll know. You could tell. There's just this different approach. It's weird. Number 8, living in the past. The key to dealing with alcoholism in the family is staying focused on the situation as it exists today. Alcoholism is progressive disease. It doesn't reach a certain level and remain there for very long. It continues to get worse until the alcoholic seeks help. You can allow the disappointments and mistakes of the past. You can't allow the disappointments and mistakes of the past to affect your choices today because circumstances have probably changed. Right here.
Oh.
Yep. So don't live in the past because even though in the past they only drank a 6-pack, you can't hold them to that because that disease has progressed and now their body's dependent on a gallon. Like you can't be like, well, you used to only drink a 6-pack because that's not relevant anymore. The disease is constantly changing and you have to adapt with the changes. Number 9, enabling their behavior. This one was hard for me to understand until I read this. I'm like, I don't think I'm enabling, but I was because I didn't understand what enabling was. It says, often in trying to help, well-meaning loved ones will actually do something that enables alcoholics to continue along their destructive paths. Find out what it is here. And make sure that you are not doing anything that bolsters the alcoholic's denial or prevents them from facing the natural consequences of their actions. Many an alcoholic have finally reached out for help when they realized their enabling system was no longer in place. What happens when you enable an alcoholic? The exact answer depends on the specific situation, but typically 2 things happen. The alcoholic never feels the pain, and it takes the focus off of the alcoholic's behavior. For example, this was my favorite example because it really made it click in my brain, and LT uses this example too. If your loved one passes out in the yard and you carefully help them into the house and into bed, only you feel the pain. You ain't going to remember. The focus then becomes on what you did. You moved them rather than what they did, drinking so much they passed out on the outside. And if in this situation they wake up on the lawn in the morning with neighbors peeking out the window and come into the house while you and the children are happily eating breakfast, they are left to face the pain. The only thing left for them to face is their own behavior. In other words, their behavior, rather than your reaction to their behavior, became the focus. It is only when they experience their own pain that they will feel a need to change. So natural consequences may mean that you refuse to spend any time with the alcoholic. This decision is not being mean or unkind. It is an act of protection against yourself. And that was actually happened a lot. So one of the natural consequences of LT's drinking was that I didn't spend time with him. He would go down into the basement and edit videos. Now, you guys have seen the video. You know that video of him drinking that he always shows?
Yeah,
That's what he would go downstairs and do. And I would stay out on the porch because I didn't like being around it. And so that was just a natural consequence to protect myself. And I wasn't doing it. Yeah. I wasn't doing it out of spite, and I wasn't doing it out of hate. I was ultimately doing it to protect me. And that's a boundary. That's what boundaries are. Boundaries are things you set that protects you from someone else's behavior. It's not an ultimatum. I wasn't like, if you keep drinking, I'm not going to hang out with you. That's an ultimatum. Is I can't hang out with you because it hurts me when you do. And it makes me sad, and it makes me feel all these things, and I don't like to watch it. So that's the difference between an ultimatum and a boundary. And it's not your job to cure your loved one's alcoholism, but allowing natural consequences to occur is one factor that can push a person from pre-contemplative stage to contemplative stage. LT goes over that stuff in Staying Sober, I do believe. And to the contemplative stage is when you start to overcome your addiction. And the contemplative stage ends with the decision to make a change. Yet further steps such as preparation, action, and later maintenance are likely relapse. And likely relapse are usually needed before the addiction is controlled.
The 4 stages of change.
Yeah.
Pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, maintenance. I think you just said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they have to experience those 4 stages, and all these steps are allowing them to do that to be able to want to make the change.
I think that model was created by DeClementine and Pachansky, like psychologists.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in that Staying Sober book. It's in one of the books we went through. We've gone through a few. And then the last one is number 10, putting off getting help. And this is what I did, and this is when I started going to counseling. It says, after years of covering up for the alcoholic and not talking about the problem outside the family, it may seem daunting to reach out for help from a support group such as Al-Anon. But millions have found solutions that lead to serenity inside those meetings, and going to Al-Anon meetings is one of those things that once you do it, you say, I should have done that years ago. Their healing statements are, I no longer have to deny the presence of addiction in my family. I no longer have to control the addict's using. I no longer have to rescue the addict. I no longer have to listen to the addict's reasons for using. I no longer have to accept or extract promises. I no longer have to seek advice from the ill-informed. I no longer have to nag, preach, coax, or gesture. I no longer need to allow the addict to abuse me or my children, and I no longer have to be a victim of addiction. This article was life-changing for me, and I don't know, hopefully it helps somebody else out there realize that they aren't in control of their addict, but you are in control of your situation. And it is probably the most freeing thing you'll ever do is to let go of trying to control an addict and realize that you're powerless over their addiction the same way they are powerless over their addiction. And the only thing you can do is get help for you. But dang, look how good I am. Boom, 59.23.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Was it a different perspective? Did it help anybody?
Why does he say Plato?
Plato, probably because that's who he was quoting.
Oh.
Up here?
Oh, right on.
That's my guess. I don't know.
Plato was an ancient Greek philosopher. I didn't do it this time. Okay.
I hate this mouse.
So, John, Serenity Prayer,
Thanks,
please.
Mark.
There it is.
Wait, what does Debbie say?
Debbie, one of the hardest parts of being with an addict is that sometimes they don't choose to get better. I've been through that. Hurts real bad.
And it's true.
Great job,
And you
Kathy.
can't make
I'm
them.
hoping she's talking about the show overall and not the getting kicked out of the studio twice.
Whoops. Else he's going to fire us both.
Do you have
Okay.
a link or a website for that article? Did you post it?
I just did.
Okay.
There's the link.
What else we got? Do.
Return to smoke. That was our magic trick. Poof.
Copperfield that stuff.
Boom.
Okay. So.
You're welcome, Carla.
There's that. Let me get down to this next one. Okay. We ready?
You're welcome, Marilyn.
Okay. God, grant
me
us the serenity
to accept the things that cannot change,
the courage to change the things we can,
and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
Amen.
I always do the unity because it's the recovering addict family, so I always just do like the group thing.
I like it.
Because it works into the stay strong, stay safe, don't put yourself in high-risk situations, work your program, and remember,
we recover better together.
And I was not prepared. Okay, stand by.
It's okay, Noelle. It does work. She says Al-Anon does work. Kathy, it makes me laugh when you disappear. It's not on purpose.
And
goodbye.